A major U-turn on arming Ukraine from Western powers may soon see a column of powerful battle tanks getting ready to break through Russian defenses in the war-torn country. The US is reportedly getting ready to send its M1 Abrams battle tank, while Germany has approved delivery of its own Leopard 2 tanks as well as re-exports from its allies. In Kiev, officials see the delivery of heavy tanks as a game changer on the battlefield as they look towards a renewed Russian offensive in March. But with the West providing Ukraine greater capability to retake territories, the Kremlin says Kiev's allies are now engaging in a real war instead of a hybrid conflict. Moscow also seems to be ramping up its offensive in the east. The Russian-installed governor of Donetsk's militias are advancing in Bakhmut. Russia's defense ministry also says a frigate has tested strike capabilities in the Western Atlantic by running simulations of the hypersonic Zircon missiles. Our German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is in Parliament at the moment. He's taking questions from lawmakers after a speech on the fresh military aid for Ukraine. More on this, Trent Murray joins us live from Berlin. Trent, does this announcement from Germany come as a surprise?
Well, it comes after a lot of international pressure. I don't know whether it's necessarily a surprise, but it certainly represents a major shift change for the way Germany has wanted, I suppose, to participate in this war. I mean, the latest information that we have is that the Chancellor will address Parliament really any minute now. I can see he has just entered the chamber, but not before his office put out a fairly lengthy statement confirming what many of the German media outlets reported would indeed be happening today. It says that following consultation with the cabinet early this morning in Berlin, the federal government has agreed to send the main battle tank known as the Leopard 2. They say this is a result of consultation between European and international partners, and Chancellor Scholz says it follows our well-known position that we will continue to support Ukraine and act in close cooperation and coordination. Now, we understand that there will be 14 of these Leopard 2 tanks sent just from the German army alone. A number of other European countries have signalled they would like to send a similar number from their own stocks. Those countries include Poland, Finland, the Netherlands, Norway, and even Spain earlier this morning, according to Spanish media reports. I mean, it's hard to overstate just how significant this is. The Leopard 2 is the workhorse of many European armies. There are around 2,000 of them dotted across the European continent. They pack an incredible punch, really night and day compared to some of the older Soviet-era tanks the Russian forces are using. And so as they start to arrive in Ukraine, it will be a major shot in the arm for Ukrainian forces. I mean, as you might imagine, the Ukrainians are just absolutely over the moon at this decision. We've had plenty of announcements from Kyiv and the president's office thanking Germany for finally giving in on this very contentious issue. We will just have to wait and see on the timeline. I can see the Chancellor has just got up to begin that all-important speech.
Now, Trent, before we crossed you, we mentioned that the US would be sending M1 Abrams tanks. Now, Olaf Scholz had earlier linked his sending of Leopard 2 to the US sending its Abrams tanks. Now that the US seems likely to do that, is that the main reason for this change of heart?
Well, it really, I suppose, in many ways depends who you ask, because we've had almost a briefing war going on, dare I say, between Washington and Berlin on this issue. What I can tell you is that one of the main rebuttals the Chancellor has put out over the past few months against this idea has been, and I'll quote here, essentially, Germany doesn't want to, quote, go it alone. In other words, Germany doesn't want to stick its neck out there by sending in all of its own tanks when other countries aren't doing so. Now, that argument you could always potentially poke some holes in based on what other European countries have done. But I think the fact that this announcement is being made today on the same day the US is making an announcement, from what we understand, shows there has been telephone calls between Berlin and DC to link all of this up. This is Germany effectively risk sharing, if you will, not going it alone, but doing it with a little bit of the cover and of the force of the United States of America. Now, we will, again, just have to wait and see around the delivery of those Abrams. Getting those here from the US will be a lot harder than getting the Leopards into Ukraine, given where the two are located. But nevertheless, as I say, this is a major military announcement for Ukraine, and it's a major step up in the type of hardware and military support that European allies are willing to throw into this war in Ukraine. And I think it will concentrate many, many minds across both the European Union, across both Ukraine, but probably most importantly, across the Kremlin.
And thanks for that. Trent Murray speaking to us live there from Berlin.